Amphissa is a town in Phocis, Greece, part of the municipality of Delphi, of which it is the seat and a municipal unit. It lies on the northern edge of the olive forest of the Crissaean plain, between two mountains, Giona to the west and Parnassus to the east, 200 kilometers northwest of Athens and 20 kilometers of Delphi, as well as 85 kilometers northeast of Naupactus and 72 kilometers south of Lamia.Amfissa dates back to antiquity, with its history spanning around 3,000 years, and has been traditionally the largest and capital city of Phocis. It was the most important city of the ancient Greek tribe of the Ozolian Locrians and one of the most powerful cities in central Greece. In the Middle Ages, Amphissa came to be known as Salona. It declined after several foreign conquests and destructions, but emerged as an important city in the region and played a major role during the Greek War of Independence. Origin of the name. It is believed that the name Alpha Mu Phi Iota Sigma Sigma Alpha derives from the ancient Greek verb alpha mu phi iota epsilon nu nu epsilon mu iota, meaning surround. Since the city is surrounded by mountains Giona and Parnassus. According to the Greek mythology, Amphissa, the daughter of Macar, son of Aeolus, and mistress of the god Apollo, gave her name to the city. During the Frankish occupation of Greece in the 13th century, Amphissa was captured by the king of Thessalonica, Boniface of Montferrat, and was renamed to Lissol. Since then the city came to be called Salona in Greek. In 1833, after the establishment of the independent Greek state, the ancient name Amphissa was given back to the city. History. Ancient times. Amphissa has been settled since the ancient times and was the chief town of Ozolian Locrians, a region inhabited by the ancient Greek tribe of Locrians, the largest and most renowned town of Locris. Beautifully constructed and located 120 stades away from Delphi. Pausanias, in his work Description of Greece, mentions the existence of the tombs of Amphissa and Andrymon, and the temple of Athena on the Acropolis of the town, with a standing statue of bronze, which was said to have been brought from Troy by Thoas. The Amphicians celebrated mysteries in honor of the Anactes boys, who might be the Dioscouroi, the curates of the Caberi. In Amphissa there were also the tomb of Gorge, wife of Andrymon, and the temple of Asclepius. Recent excavations have revealed a Mycenaean tomb in Amphissa. Preliminary findings indicate that the tomb was in use for more than 2 centuries, for the 13th to the 11th century B.C. Findings of several excavations revealed that the town had developed its commerce with Corinth and towns of the northwestern Peloponnese at the end of the 8th century BC. Amphissa was organized as polis in the 7th century BC and flourished in arts and trade, which lasted for 3 centuries. Parts of the walls of the ancient Acropolis of the town date back between the 7th and the 6th century BC. In 653 BC, people from Amphissa migrated to southern Italy and founded the town of Epiphyrian Locri. Amphissa's calendar differed from that of the other Ozolian towns, while 4 of the months' names known are Argistian, Panegyrian, Amin and Pocios. Its coins had the head of Apollo on the one side, and the inscription Alpha Mu Phi Iota Sigma Sigma Epsilon Omega Nu, a spearhead and a jawbone of Caledonian boar, and either a star or grapes on the other. Following the Greek defeat by the Persians in the Battle of Thermopylae, Persian troops invaded Phocis, Ozolian Locris, Doris and Boeotia. It is then that Amphissa, due to its strong acropolis, received Phocians seeking for safety. During the Peloponnesian War, Amphissa fought on Sparta's side, drifting the other towns of Ozolian Locris in this way. The town's form of government was oligarchic, similar to that of Sparta, but, during the Pericles era in Athens, some unsuccessful attempts to establish democracy took place. 10 of the archontes of Amphissa have been known through inscriptions found at Delphi: Theogenes of Menandros, Voriades, Charaxenus, Aristodemus of Damon, Dorotheus, Euarchus, Archedimus, Aristodemus of Epinacus, Charaxenus and Aristarchus. In 426 BC, Spartan general Eurylochus, on his way to Naupactus, arrived to Delphi and sent a herald to Amphissa, in order to detach them from Athens and make the Amphicians leave him pass through the lands. The latter were the first to give him hostages and also persuaded the other Locrian cities to do the same, as they were alarmed at the hostility of the neighboring Phocians. After the Peloponnesian War, the Amphicians were allies to Thebes. In 395 BC, the Thebans encouraged the Amphicians to collect taxes from territories claimed by both Locris and Phocis. In response, the Phocians invaded Locris and ransacked Locrian territory in its metropolis, Amphissa. As a result, the Amphicians and the rest of Locrians, along with the Thebans, attacked Phocis, and the Phocians, in turn, appealed to their ally, Sparta. These conflicts led to the Corinthian War, with the Amphicians on the side of Athens, Argos, Corinth and Thebes. During the Third Sacred War, 356–346 BC, the Amphicians, who were allies of the Thebans, cultivated part of the Crissaean plain, which belonged to Delphi, and founded potteries in Kira. In 339 BC, the Athenians offered golden shields to the temple of Apollo in Delphi with inscriptions insulting to the Thebans, who provoked the deputy of Amphissa to oppose to this offer. Then Aeschines, the Athenian deputy, contradicted the Amphicians, introducing their illegal actions in the sacred lands of the Oracle of Delphi before the Amphictyonic League, which called Philip II of Macedon to interfere. In 338 BC, Philip attacked and destroyed Amphissa, expelling large parts of its population and giving the area to Delphi, which is known as the Fourth Sacred War. Later in the same year, under the motivation of Demosthenes, a confederation of the Athenians and the Thebans was organized against the Macedonians, which the Amphicians and the rest of the Ozolian Locrians joined. The Amphicians managed to rebuild the town and give to it its former power, but in 322 BC it was sieged by Alexander of Aetolia. In 279 BC, 400 Amphician hoplites joined the Greek forces which defended Delphi against the Gauls. Later, the Amphicians and the Aetolians tightened their old affiliation, and in 250 BC, Amphissa joined the Aetolian League as friend and relative of the Aetolians. In 245 BC, Aratus, the strategos of the Achaean League, attacked and damaged Amphissa, but the two leagues allied with the Roman general Titus Quinctius Flamininus against Philip V of Macedon, and after the win over the Macedonian king, Titus proclaimed Amphissa, among other cities, as an independent and tax-exempt polis, capital of Ozolian Locrians, with its own bull, ecclesia and coins. But when the Aetolians realized that Rome was to rule the Greek cities and asked Antiochus III the Great of Syria for help, the Roman general Manius Acilius Glabrio seized Lamia and advanced to Amphissa, where he conquered the Crissaean plain and besieged the town in 190 BC. The Amphicians, being confident for the power of their acropolis and the walls, defended the city, but the fall of Amphissa to the superior forces of the Romans was likely to happen. Then, Manius Acilius was replaced by Lucius Cornelius Scipio Asiaticus, and the people of Amphissa ran into the Acropolis. Athenian deputies intervened and prevented Amphissa from the siege, achieving a truce between the two sides. In the period between 174 and 160 BC, Amphissa had been damaged several times during the hostilities which took place between the pro-Roman Aetolians and the nationalists of the town. When Octavian founded the town of Nicopolis in memory of his victory over Antony and Cleopatra in the Battle of Actium. He drove Aetolians to populate it, but the parts of them moved to Amphissa. That is why Pausanias says that the Amphissians were ashamed of calling themselves Ozolians, thus they claimed Aetolian descent, a fact that was a misconception of Pausanias, because some people of Amphissa in his times were indeed descendants of Aetolian refugees. In that period, Plutarch mentions, in the work Parallel Lives, a physician from Amphissa named Philotas. During the 2nd century, Amphissa was a prosperous town which expanded outside its walls, having a population of 70,000 people in 180 BC according to Pausanias, while during the reign of Diocletian, Amphissa is said to have a splendid aqueduct. Middle Ages. In the early Middle Ages, Amphissa was devastated by several foreign peoples who invaded Greece, like the Visigoths under Alaric and the Huns. In 451, the town probably had an episcopal seat, and in 530, Justinian I fortified the towns around the Crissaean plain and fixed the fortress of Amphissa. Hierocles in his Synecdemus mentions Amphissa as one of the towns of the Eparchy of Hellas within the Byzantine Empire, which was under the rule of the vice-consul of Athens. Since the middle of the 9th century, new invaders, the Bulgars, raided the region of Phocis and sieged Amphissa several times, but the most damaging was in 996, when Samuel of Bulgaria destroyed the town and slaughtered its people. In 1059, Pechenegs besieged Amphissa one more time and forced the Amphicians to hide in caves of the region to avoid a massacre. In 1147 the Normans arrived to the Crissaean plain but left Amphissa unspoiled, maybe due to the town's decline. In 1205, after the Fourth Crusade and the establishment of the Latin Empire, Boniface of Montferrat, the king of Thessalonica, conquered the region of central Greece. Amphissa became the seat of a lordship under Thomasita or Truman Court. It is then that the new governors built the powerful castle of Salona on the hill where the ancient Acropolis of Amphissa existed, while the ancient name of the town was replaced by the new name Salona, or Le Sole in French and Le Sola in Italian. In 1311, the Catalans conquered and ruled central Greece for more than 80 years. Ottoman era and the Greek War of Independence. The region of Salona was conquered by the Ottomans in 1394. In 1580, a huge earthquake destroyed several towns in Phocis, amongst them Salona. After a period of Venetian rule from 1687 to 1697, Salona devolved to the Ottomans again. Several foreign travelers visited the town, which had about 6,000 inhabitants at the time. Salona had lost the former splendor and nothing was left to remind the glorious past of ancient Amphissa, so some of the visitors misbelieved that it was the town of ancient Delphi. In the 18th century, Salona became the center of preparations for the war against the Ottoman Turks in central Greece, due to its strategic location and its proximity to the clefts of Giona and Parnassus mountains. In the Greek War of Independence, Salona was the first town of central Greece to revolt under the leadership of Panorgias Janus Diavanotus, Ioannis Gouras and its bishop Isaiah, who were in cooperation with Athanasios Diakos Janus Macrianus and others, originated from Phocis. On March 27, 1821, Panorgias invaded the town and on April 10 the Greeks captured the castle of Salona, the first fortress which fell in Greek hands, and extinguished the 600 people of the Ottoman garrison in it. On 15 to 20 November 1821, a council was held in Salona, where the main local notables and military chiefs participated. Under the direction of Theodorus Negris, they set down a proto-constitution for the region, the legal order of Eastern continental Greece, and established a governing council, the Areopagus of eastern continental Greece, composed of 71 notables from eastern Greece, Thessaly and Macedonia. Salona became the capital of eastern continental Greece, and the regime existed until the Ottoman recapture of East Greece, in 1825. Culture and sites of interest. Much of the town's culture is the result of private legacies left to it. Some of the benefactors were Markidis, Giaxes and Staulos. Landmarks include the Castle of Salona, also known as the Castle of Oria, where the ancient Acropolis stood, the Archaeological Museum of Amfissa, the Annunciation Cathedral with its murals by Spyros Papaloukas, several smaller museums, and the district of Charmaina, where the traditional bells are produced. The Municipal Library of Amfissa, which was founded in 1957, hosts, apart from its large number of books, a collection of traditional paintings of Phocis. Other older sites of the Byzantine Saviour Church, built in the 11th century, the Paleochristian baptistry of the 3rd century next to the cathedral, Lycotrippa, which is a Mycenaean tomb on the eastern edge of the town, and the Folklore Museum of Amfissa. There are also a TEI affiliated to the TEI of Lamia, an IEK and a lyceum. There are ample opportunities for hiking and camping on the mountains. Amfissa contains several platias, an Odeon, a chorus, a public philharmonic, but is also known for its annual carnival. Historical population. Notable people: Alexandros Delmouzos, educator; Christos Karazos, archaeologist; Aspasia Papathanasio, actress.